So I'm just going to turn that around, which is kind of one of the advantages to having it on a cushion, because you can just turn it around, get another safety pin, and you can do another one, so you can have a couple going at the same time. Sometimes it's better to change, rather than getting bored with something. I sometimes get bored with projects and I have them lying around, but I'd much rather go back to them and to be able to go back to them rather than just give up on them altogether. So, saying that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a little bit of a more herringbone type style. Now for this, I'm going to choose 2 different colours. Yeah, I'm going to do 2 different colours. And I am going to also show you how you can add things like beads and trinkets in. And I can show you one that I made which had chain links in as well from a bike chain. Because if you're into things like cycling or you know someone who is, it's quite a nice little thing to add in. And if you go to a bike shop, you can usually they'll have things like that they've thrown away, so you can get an old bike chain and using a link remover, or they might, if you ask them nicely, they might even just give you a few links that they've removed for you. Quite often when people are putting chains on bikes, they have to cut it shorter, so they'll have a couple of links left over if you're lucky. So I'm going to do 4 lengths of the pink and 2 of like that purpley mauve colour. And there's a really good reason why I'm doing even numbers, why I'm not just doing 3 and 3. Okay, so let's put that to one side. So that's 4 of the pink, and then I'm going to get 3 of this purpley mauvey colour. There we go, there's that. Right, so, as before, tie a knot at the top, like so. Get my safety pin, and fasten the safety pin through the knot. And just fasten that through cushion. Slightly more subdued colours on this one as opposed to the vivid rainbow colours. So what I'm doing now, there's one that's still joined at the bottom. Just need to separate those off. Right, so they're all separate. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate them into 2, 1 on either side, and I am making sure that they are in order and they are matched. So I've got the purpley mauve colour on the outside, and then I have the pink colours on the inside. Okay, so 2 purple, like purpley mauve, 1 on either side, then the pink going inwards. So this one is like a herringbone design, and this one we are using the same knots, just going in a slightly different order. So, going from the outside, going from left to right as before, do 1 knot around the first pink, second knot around the first pink, then the second pink from the left, do 1 knot, then second knot, and then I'm just going to put that one there to one side. Now I'm going over to this one here. So this side, I'll just get these scissors out of the way before I cut through something I don't want to. I'm doing it backwards. So making the backwards 4 shape as before we did the forward 4, we'll do the backwards 4 now. But it's exactly the same, where you wrap it round and then tie a knot. Do it again, wrap it around, tie a knot, and then the next one from the right, the second pink from the right, wrap it around, and pull it up, and wrap it around, and pull it up. That's the second knot, and then this is the clever bit. You've got your 2 bits in the middle, the 2 movie colours. What you do with those ones is we tie them together. It's just the same sort of knot that you would tie if you were tying your shoelace. So you do it once, you do it twice. Now remember which hands you've got them in and put them down. So now we're going to do it again. And making sure that your strands are in the right order. This is where having completely different coloured strands helps, because you can see when you've got them in the wrong order. Maybe I should have done that, but it's a bit late now. So I'm going to do the pink one. So again, from left to right, tying around the first pink, 2 knots, then around the purple mauve, 2 knots, put that down there, and then going backwards, oops, just get that out of the way, on the first pink, first knot, first pink, second knot, and then around the movie coloured one twice, 2 knots, and then those 2 central ones you tie together. Like I say, same knot that you would tie when you're tying a shoelace. Tie it once, tie it twice. So that should leave us with a pink, grey, pink, and we're starting to get a little herringbone design going on there. So now this is a totally experimental thing, so I'm not going to actually use it for a bracelet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple more rows of this, and then I'm going to show you things like adding beads and trinkets, because this is where they start getting interesting. I mean, apart from the fact that you're doing like a herringbone design on a friendship bracelet, it's actually quite nice. It looks quite nice, and the colour combination's quite nice. So we'll see how it goes. I might actually use it, continue it, and finish it. Though not for this video. I might not get this finished today, just because there's so much to be done. Got a feeling I might have just done 3 knots on that one, but it's not the end of the world. So again, tying the 2 in the middle together, 1 and 2. Right, so doing things like adding beads. I'm just going to go and find a bead. just a small point. Sometimes if you don't do the right knot, you might end up with a little bit of colour kind of bleeding through. I mean, it might just be that I just didn't knot it quite right, but yeah, you can just mess around with it and just get it so it looks a bit better. They are, after all, just knots. Right, I'm just going to go and get a couple of beads. Right, so I've just got some beads here. Managed to get them so that they are spelling out my name, and I've got them with a fairly. Can you see that in the light? They've got quite a large hole in them. What you don't want to have to do is necessarily get. You can if you really want to, but you want to keep the holes fairly big on them so you can feed them through without needing needles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed from the outside, again doing the herringbone design. So let's do very quickly one side to the other. Bum, 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 bum. And using different colours here, you can kind of, it can help you space out letters and space out your beads. So if you sort of like keep it for only certain colour, you put the bead through, it just helps keep your spacing right so your beads aren't all haphazard. So that's the second one there. Sometimes it might look like you're tying the knot round one when you're not. You're actually tying the knot round the other. But you can just go back and undo stuff if it doesn't come out, if it doesn't look quite right. You know, it's just string and knots at the end of the day. So you can just undo your knots if it doesn't quite look right. Right, so first bead. There's a couple of ways you can add it. I mean, there's a lot of improvisation here. One of the ways is to feed both of them through. Feed them both through like that. And then tie your knots. Your 2 knots. Might make it look a bit weird. The other way, you can tie 1 knot through, you know. But I find 1 knot does fine, just like that. And that's my second knot, like that. And then you just continue to do your shapes. Now, be aware that it will try and move down the line. Once you start tying your things around it, it will start to put it into place. Now, if you want it to be, it's just a case of moving stuff around, really. I like that. That's one. And then like that. And you see that's tied that into place. And let's just go on like that. And do the other side. So that kind of stuck that in place. And then there's the other side. Just don't forget to do 2 knots, really. This is the key. And then tie those knots together. Like that. And like that. and then you just do it again. So cut to high speed, I think. Also do the rest. Anyway, that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about. So you can see there's a bead in the middle. You can continue, you can just add more beads, you know, spell out your name. Like I say, you can use the different strands as a way of seeing where you need to put your beads in, and that can help with your spacing. That's everything for now. That's a different type of thing. You can also, by changing the way you do your knots, you can do things like X's. I'm not going to try doing that now, just because I know I'll end up getting mixed up and confused. It doesn't take a lot. But there you go. There's a couple of different types of friendship bracelets you can have a go at. See you next time.